What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. It's your hosts, Blaine Spencer and Joe Ciccoletti. I basically just introed you as me as I caught myself mid sentence. We're off to an awful start, but here we are. A couple weeks off. We're going to talk some draft, we're going to talk some NBA playoffs, but first, Joe, are you okay? I got to make sure. You've had a rough 2 weeks.
Blaine, I know the intro was awful, but I mean the Falcons draft was much worse, and the Sixers playoffs and sports in general is just even worse. So I mean, yeah, we're here. We made it. A couple days later, had it. I had a delay. I could come right off the bat. Had people texting me. Had people texting me Thursday night. Oh my God, did you see Penix went to the Falcons? What do you think about this? Are you okay? Everybody's checking in on me, stuff like that. Yeah, we're here, folks. We're here. So that's
We're
it.
here. That's all. And I'm glad that you're still here because this episode wouldn't be as much fun for me if you didn't come on, even though I knew you were stalling, trying to push it back. You said, "Oh, I gotta open the trailer. I gotta, do this. I don't know, draft. I got pretty busy at work. No, 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 no. I wasn't gonna let you get off the hook, bud. gotta
That's
keep,
fair.
gotta keep you honest, because I get held accountable every time my team stinks it up when it comes
You're
to
right. You're right. And I went through the
that.
stages of grief, I guess would be the word to use, stages of grief with the Falcons. I accepted it. Then I was upset. Then I tried to figure out a way that it was actually a good thing to happen. Then it was, well, that was the worst pick we've ever could have made. Now it's like in the point where I'm like, well, maybe it was a really good pick we made and we just don't know about it. So I'm all over the place. I got excuses all around the board, whether it goes good or bad. It doesn't matter to me. Either way, in the end, I'm a Falcons fan, and we're going to move on, and we're waiting until September when Week 1 comes around. So,
All right. I like the positive attitude. I'm
absolutely.
glad that you finally got there and you finally accepted your reality, and that's probably.
However, on the flip side, when we talk about later, the Sixers, forget about it. I'm pissed off at them, but that's another thing there. So,
Well, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. We'll allow your rant to take place later on in the show so that we can start with the NFL draft then. So let's dive in. NFL draft took place. Oh gosh, 2 weeks ago now. If I
a
can
week and a
remember off
half
the
ago,
top of my
week and
head,
a
a week
half
and a
ago.
half, week and a half. Um, Interesting things. Some things that we did not predict in our mock drafts ended up going a little bit differently with how offensive players did run the day. Defense really fell off, especially in that first round, especially. Not really a defensive player till the mid teens, I believe, off the top of my head right now.
15.
Quarterbacks went one, two, three, right? Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, then Drake May. Joe, you were kind of nailed all three of those there going on your little mock action. Then Marvin Harrison, we all thought was the easiest pick that we could do. And then we started getting it all wrong at the fifth pick when the Chargers decided to say uh, Joe Alt is going to be the pick. And Harbaugh does exactly what Harbaugh does, and that is we're going to build it in the trenches and we're going to go offensive line. Screw you guys about us needing a wide receiver. It's all built by protection, and we're going to protect our $50 million a year at the quarterback position in Justin Herbert. So, Joe, what do you think went well, and what do you think went wrong for in this NFL draft for teams?
I thought it started off pretty consensus. To tell you the truth, a lot of mocks were picking out 1 through 4, and I think like you said, we nailed it pretty on the head with Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they all have high ceilings with who they went to. Truthfully enough, I think Caleb Williams could have a top. I really think with the situation he's in right now, I think he'd be a top 15 quarterback right now in the NFL. With the weapons that he has, the O line that they built, the running back that they have as well, like and what he brings to the table, I just think Caleb Williams right now on paper, you could argue to be a top 15 quarterback in the league.
Yep.
Marvin Harrison, I think, is going to have a really good season, being like essentially the wide receiver one now with a healthy Kyler Murray coming back. definitely could see over 1,200 yards out of him, maybe 8 touchdowns or something like that. Good, solid rookie campaign for him. I think he went to a really good spot. But yeah, I think the Chargers where kind of like the draft was supposed to start, right? Like maybe the trades were going to happen. Maybe the Vikings were going to trade up and get McCarthy. Maybe the Giants were going to trade up and maybe take a quarterback or something of that nature. But no, Harbaugh stuck to his guns, and good for him. He went to build in the trenches and got Joe Walt, and now they potentially have the future to protect Justin Herbert, not only on the left side with Joe Walt, but the right side as well with Sean Slater. So they'll be able to protect him now. Who's Herbert going to throw the ball to? I mean, that's another question. They did make a hell
Brendan
of
Rice, baby. Brendan Rice. Brandon Rice, come on, steal
I
the
did.
draft in the seventh round.
Oh god, I did love the Lad McConkey pick by them though, early in the second, to get another wide receiver there. So to try to help out, I guess, the receiving room for the Chargers. Um, but yeah, the big pick I really wasn't a big fan of. I'm not a big JC Latham guy at all. I thought he went extremely high to the Titans. Like I just thought there was a lot better offensive tackle prospects than JC Latham. I'm just not a big fan of the guy.
Sure.
But they went and they got the need that they were supposed to do. And whatnot. But truthfully enough, man, I really think the Chicago Bears made out really well in the first round, getting essentially their guy number one, a quarterback, and then Roma Dunze, who essentially is going to be that wide receiver 3 this year. But when Keenan Allen is, off this team in a year or two from now, will slide into that wide receiver 2 role or potentially wide receiver run role ahead of DJ Moore. Really thought that was a really good pick by them all around. But yeah, I mean, are we going to talk about it? We'll do about the top 10, but the shocking pick of it all was Michael Penix going to the Falcons. I mean, let's be honest. Nobody really expected it. There was rumors and videos that I watched that said that keep an eye on the Falcons, like they may take a quarterback, and eventually, they actually did take a quarterback. Why? The reasonings why it could be therapist Blaine is that it could be because they don't know if Kirk Cousins is going to be ready to start the season. They don't know. Kirk Cousins could be gone after 2 years. So then they want to have, a successor behind him ready to go ahead. There's multiple reasons. I even saw something where Raheem Mostert, not Raheem Mostert, Raheem Morris, the Falcons head coach now, when he was the interim and then became the full-time head coach, said to them like, "Hey, Matt Ryan's on his way out. We need to find a successor." And they were like, "No, no, no," and then ended up shit in the bed. Well, now I guess when he came back, he was like, "Hey, I told you about Matt Ryan. Like Kirk Cousins is the same way right now. He's on the same path. Like it's time to get a quarterback." However, you're starting to you're seeing these comparisons of like, oh, it's like kind of like Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. It's not like that at all. Jordan Love was 21 years old, had potential out the wazoo in his arm, especially, and just needed time to learn. Michael Penix is 25, 26 year old with massive injuries throughout his career between Indiana and Washington. It's not the same at all because by the time Penix potentially, if on the Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love track, would see the field, he'd be 27 years old compared to Jordan Love, who would be 23, 24 at the time. That is a significant difference there. So I'm very torn. At the time that the draft did happen, I was not a fan. I'm going to be honest. I wanted an edge rusher. I wanted Latu. I would have been fine with a cornerback. I would have been fine if we traded back. I would have even been fine with a wide receiver, honestly. It would have been like, oh, like, cool. We sparked up the offense even more. But when the Penix pick came in, like, I just was shocked. Like, I was just like, I don't understand it. But, now as the time progressed, like, I understand a little bit, but still not 100%. So.
No, and I think you kind of nailed a lot of the things that I kind of had as well, as it pertains to what has transpired, especially in that top 10, right? When it comes to Michael Penix, I I see where Atlanta's looking, but you could have gotten him so much later than 8.
See, I don't
in
know
my
if that's
opinion.
true. Like, you can't say that because
Right,
I heard
that's
a
it
lot of rumors that a lot of people were wanting to trade up.
for him.
Yeah, like I heard the Raiders were
I
really wanting to trade up. I heard Denver wanted to trade up. So like you have two teams like that that's sitting at 12 and 13. Like you only have five more picks. He wasn't gonna fall much
I think a
further.
lot of people had him higher on people's on boards than many thought, right? Because a lot of people had him listed as 6, right, behind JJ McCarthy, behind Bo Nix, right, in that regard. And I know, in my opinion, right, just from I watch probably way too much college football. You know this, that like when he is the most pure thrower of the football in this class. When it
Yes.
comes
Like
to the throwing of the football, right? He is the most pure passer. And it wasn't even close in regards to like his pure passing ability. However, the other three stand out because of potential, upside, and health, right? When it
age
comes, yeah, health and
and
age too,
age.
right? Michael Penix was a 6th-year senior this past year, which puts him right 24, 25. Now, like you said, right? If Kurt plays, let's just say Kurt does his 2 years. He is now 27, 28, and you have no idea what you have at the quarterback position.
Mhm.
And you see the upside, but you also understand the injury, right? 2 season-ending injuries. Well, no, 3 season-ending injuries. One with his knee, 2 with his shoulder, where he didn't complete a year. Outside of last year was the first time he actually went all 15 games, and they played for the
Mhm.
national title, right? First year in his career that he played all of his starts in a season
Yeah.
and didn't have the injury bug, and he still played hurt, right? In that semifinal game, he rolled that ankle and he played through it the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
So like, it's not like injury isn't the problem. And now you bring in you brought in a guy who's coming off of a potential career ender, right? You don't know how he's going to respond from an Achilles. You never know. And then you bring in a guy who's actually more injury prone and he's younger than what the guy you brought in from free agency and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
think
there's
Kirk
just
Cousins is injury prone. I don't know if you said that there or not, but
no. I
I
just
don't
said
think
he's
he's.
coming off of a
Oh,
severe
okay.
injury,
All
right?
right. Yeah.
You're bringing in now
Yeah.
2 guys that have come off of significant injuries in the past. Kurt now, right, and then Michael Penix multiple times in college.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I just don't I understand the intent, right? Because Atlanta thinks they're not going to be up in that position for the next couple of years, right? They think they're going to be able to win now and still be in the 20s now in the draft. Like they're not going to be able to get their guy. And they took
Correct.
advantage of it, and that's why they took the chance.
Correct.
However, I don't think the opportunity was warranted based off of Penix's injury history, in my opinion.
Yeah. And like again, like on the flip side is, another philosophy here is this. It's like, okay, you take a Dallas Turner, Latu, a cornerback. Like, is
Right.
that player really going to make you a difference that could potentially put this team from, let's say, I mean, I still think the Falcons still now a playoff fringe team, but does that put them over the top and to put them into the NFC Championship game potentially or Super Bowl? Like, no, I don't think so. So, like, taking the Penix pick now, it's like, okay, you take the Penix pick, but like, all right, say Kirk gets you to this point. Well, at least now after that, Penix still could take you to that point, or if not potentially further. Now he could take you back. Don't get me wrong, but you have that ceiling floor that's a little wider, but it's better than having nothing.
Right.
That's where the other philosophy side comes into it. Yeah, so you have your good and your bad, but what you're gonna do. But let's move off of that. All right, let's move
Okay.
off of that. The Vikings, I really actually thought they turned out pretty good. Everyone was kind of saying, hey, they're gonna have to trade up. They're gonna have to trade a first round. They're gonna have to trade, what was it, 11 and 23 away to get up to
Right.
5 to get McCarthy, right? Well, McCarthy falls to him, or they trade up a pick at 10 to get him. And then they also get Dallas Turner. So they were able to potentially now replace Kirk Cousins and Danielle Hunter, who left also,
Yep.
with essentially younger, way younger at the position now. I really thought it was a really good move by them. Now, are those the guys that potentially could replace them? I mean, I guess we'll see, but you got to start somewhere, right? And I think that was a really good move by them. Dallas Turner was arguably one of the best edge rushers coming out this year. So
Yep.
to potentially get that great move, and McCarthy is, we'll see what he is. He excelled at the college level, and maybe he'll excel at the NFL level. So I think a really good position for the Vikings there.
Yeah, I think the Vikings got great value out of their first round, right? They only had to do a pick swap with the Jets to move up one spot because there was the rumor of Denver and Vegas trying to jump them at 10 to get McCarthy, and they ended up holding to their guns, moving up one spot. And you got to give the Minnesota Vikings organization some credit by not jumping the gun, right? By trying to make sure that they got their quarterback and throwing all their uh, poker chips on the table to get up to 5, right? Because that's where everyone assumed the next quarterback was going to get taken. Was where the Chargers were. So huge credit there. I loved what they did in their first round. I think they at that point Dallas Turner had fallen so much, the Minnesota was like, screw our needs, which was defensive back, right? We're gonna go get the best player on the board who we can get now at 17 instead of where he was valued at potentially 6 or 7 on boards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So love what they did there. Another team that I really like, I mean, Chicago, we could say they hit a home run on day one, right? In my opinion. Like, you get Caleb
Yeah.
Williams, you get Rome Aduze with a 1-9. Like, nothing's going to really say that you did poorly in that regard. As much as it sickens me to say it, the Philadelphia Eagles freaking had everything fall into their lap. They got arguably on people's boards the two best cornerbacks, and they got them at 22 and 40 in Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. They just fell to them. Like, I don't understand. Like, Cooper significantly fell, like, off of boards. Like, everyone thought he was going to be gone by the mid 20s, and he fell away to the Eagles at 40. Loved what they did. Also got a piece in Will Shipley as a backup running back in the 4th round. Like, Philadelphia, like, they hit every need and they excelled. Like, they knew defensive back was their issue, and they hammered it with getting arguably 2 of the best corners in this draft.
Yeah, no, I think they did well, especially getting Quinyon Mitchell in the 22nd pick. Um, I also thought the Colts did really well too. Getting Latu, what potentially again one of the best edge rushers coming out, and then on top of that, in the second round, getting Adonai Mitchell from Texas, who I really like, could be the maybe the fourth best or fifth best wide receiver coming out this year. Um, and so just a really, really solid pick for them to put alongside Michael Pittman, and then Latu as an edge rusher coming off the edge. Just doing that. But yeah, that was another team that did really well. And then Terrion Arnold falling to the Lions because their biggest need was the secondary as well.
Yep.
And to have Terrion Arnold, who was arguably cornerback 1 right there with Quinyon Mitchell, 1A, 1B, to have them fall all the way to the Lions. And you kind of like didn't expect them to kind of take him because you were more expecting like a Nate Wiggins to be there, Cooper DeJean to be there. So you're like, all right,
Yeah.
like that's who I got to take. But no, now you get a true cornerback 1, to put in that secondary. That was on the slightly weaker side. And to say, and to get him and at the position you were, I think is a major steal for them.
And not to mention, they also had the other cornerback fall to them in the second round in Rakestraw out of Missouri. Like, he's more raw, right? But a physical athlete who might be more of a like hybrid player in the nickel, right? He can play a little bit of safety, play a little bit of corner, like almost fulfill that losing CJ Gardner Johnson type role. So also a huge pick. Like Detroit also got arguably two of the best like 4 or 5 corners in this class. Like you can't. They also did very well. And I'm going to give my brother a shout out. Your Arizona Cardinals, Keegan, did not screw up day one. Good job. You took Marvin Harrison Jr., and arguably you got one of the better defensive linemen on the edge, and Darius Robinson falling to you at 27 out of Missouri as well. So, guy that kind of lit it up at the Senior Bowl. And then also then taking another pretty solid corner out of Rutgers, Max Melton, and then also then getting Trey Benson in the third round. A very good first 2 days for the Arizona Cardinals to fulfill a lot of needs that they have.
So is Kansas City just they're going back to Super Bowl, right?
Oh yeah, basically. We're not. I didn't
Like
want to talk about Kansas City because it sickens me how they
like
basically are just going to go to Super
literally
Bowl.
the one corner, the one wide receiver that we're all like kind of predicting that goes there and it's just gonna fit this old Tyreek Hill role goes there,
Yep.
Xavier Worthy. And you're just like,
And
you gotta
Buffalo
be
is the one that made the trade with them.
you gotta be kidding me, right? Like I was I see the pick come and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, they literally just potentially got Tyreek Hill 2.0.
Yep. I
Potentially.
thought I thought the
Uh,
exact same thing.
and you're just like, oh my God. But not like going through, just mainly the first round, there was really only like maybe two or three surprise picks to me that like I really thought like, oh, okay, that's a weird pick or that's a reach, which obviously number one was the Falcons being up there. Number
Right.
two was Brock Bowers to me. Just kind of a
For the
weird pick
Raiders.
for the Raiders. Like, yeah, like okay, like they could definitely use a weapon. Don't get me wrong, but like they just took what's it, Michael
Yeah.
Myers
Michael
from
Mayer
Notre
last
Dame.
year. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Brock Bowers is a completely different tight end than Mayers. So I completely understand that. And Brock Bowers would probably be more like a slot wide receiver role combo with tight end, fine. But like just a very odd pick to me because I'm like, I just really didn't expect him to go there. Just kind of thought they were just going to try to go somewhere else or a
Yeah.
different route. And then last but not least, I just think San Fran just reached on Pearsall from Florida. Like that guy was like I had him more like late second or if not third. Like I
Right.
just was like, okay, yeah, that's a really high pick for you for this guy here. So, but every other one, like I kind of you could justify, why it was taken and why they went there at that pick in the first round. So, no complaints there. But
Who
oh,
do you
Jaguars was the other weird one too. So
Yeah, who they went
Ryan
damn.
Thomas Jr., the wide receiver from LSU.
And they traded down for him.
Yeah. So I don't know,
Who
just
who
a
do you
little
who do
weird.
you think who do you think as which teams would you say had a bad day at the office
Oh, Falcons.
outside of the Falcons? I figured the Falcons would be your top one.
The only real pick I actually liked with the Falcons was the edge rusher we drafted in the third round out of Washington. That's the only kid I liked. Every other one, I was like, I don't know what we're doing here. Um,
I did not like the Broncos draft either. I thought it was very meh, in my opinion.
yeah,
Same with the Titans. Like you said, JC Latham, huge stretch in my opinion. And then they really didn't do anything that I thought like screamed out for the Titans. Like Tavondre Sweat, I had him more of a late second round pick, not like that early in the second. And then they went Cedric Gray, linebacker from North Carolina. North Carolina doesn't know how to play defense, so I didn't like that pick. Um, and then like again, the Denver, I I don't like I Bo Nix was the lowest quarterback on my board out of the six. And I had him as his grade for me was a second round grade, like mid second. I just were picking him at
okay.
12. I get it. Quarterbacks are going to get valued higher in that moment, but at that point he's the last quarterback, and I felt like the Broncos' hands were tied. If they wanted to get someone, they had to take him at the 12. But I'm also like,
Yeah.
I was a reach for me.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like a couple winners, I definitely have. I definitely like the Saints draft, even though I hate to say it. Like when it
Right.
got a tackle, they needed to get a tackle to help protect Derek Carr, and then they also got McKinstry.
Yeah, he
To
fell
put
too. The corners fell big time in this
Yeah, like
draft.
I thought those were really two solid pickups for their team. And truthfully enough, I know we didn't talk about it much, but I actually think Washington had a really good draft. Having getting the quarterback potentially for the future, getting arguably one of the best defensive tackles
Yep.
in the early second round. And then in addition, getting the cornerback from Michigan in the second round as well. And then did you guys draft like a tight end too?
Yeah, we took the guy from Kansas State. We did. He definitely was not going to go there, but
Yeah, I
he
don't
was.
know much about him.
He's more of like a blocking tight end type thing because he played
Okay.
at K State where they ran the ball a lot. But
Okay.
no, I did love the Jerzon Newton pick. I was pretty ecstatic about
Like
that one.
that's who I thought the Falcons were trading up for. When they traded up, I was like, oh, they're gonna go get edge rusher or a defensive tackle. And then they take a defensive tackle, but this kid out of Clemson or Hordo. I don't know
Yeah,
anything about him. Doesn't I don't know.
raw,
They just
very raw. He's a
yeah,
raw.
they said raw and undersized. And I go, great. Love to hear that. Terrific.
Love
So, but
that.
yeah, I thought the Eagles made some good picks. I thought the Saints, I actually thought Washington made some solid picks as well. Um, yeah, kind of just draft. I thought
No,
it
I think
was.
everyone. I think now we wait to see. Right now, it's going to be more of now you have free agency. Now you start looking for teams. Are they going to start trading some people towards mini camp, stuff like that, trying to fill in the needed holes? So they'll kind of slow down for about a month or so in the NFL ranks with the draft now gone. But
Oh
exciting
yeah,
stuff. So
oh yeah.
I think it'll be intriguing to see how it everything unfolds. All right, we're gonna now kind of talk some NBA playoffs. What's transpired
Playoffs.
the first, and now it's in the middle of the second
You
rounds.
talking about playoffs?
Well, not the middle, beginning of second rounds, but still. Anyway, um, couple of things that have unfolded. The teams that have advanced. The New York Knicks. We'll talk about that one at the end because Joe's got some stuff to say. They beat the Sixers, and we'll table that one. The Pacers beat the Milwaukee Bucks in six. I think this was more of a. I mean, I know for me, I had Milwaukee winning, but Milwaukee was not healthy the entire series. No Damian Lillard, really. No Giannis the entire series. So I
Like
think that
half
kind
and
of
half of Chris Middleton.
half
The
of
man
Chris.
got the man got injured and willed one game to victory and hit like 3 game winners. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think Indiana. I mean, Milwaukee. I thought it was going to be a tough series, but I think all in all, Indiana wins because of just youth and they were the healthier team.
yeah, I think it was purely because they were the healthier team.
Yeah, and they kind of dominated. Like the series, a couple of those games were not close. Like Indiana ran them out of the building. Wait, I want to get your 2 cents though on Pat Bev throwing the ball at the fan. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's Pat
Like,
Bev. What do you expect? Like, man's got attitude, plays with heart. It doesn't surprise me at all. So
I just thought it was stupid and funny at the same time. Hey, typical Pat Bev. And he'll talk about it probably on his podcast this week. Hey, you said something to me. You said this.
yeah, like
I
I
mean,
don't know.
they're all going to say something to you, Pat. As much as I would love to defend the players, you're going to get chirped every time.
It's tough. Going to a place like the Bucks, and you have these aspirations of potential championship run, and then Giannis goes down a week before the playoffs are about to start. Then he's out the whole round one. Then you
Yeah.
lose Damian Lillard in game two. Yeah, tempers are going to be high. I hate to say it. Like, your superstars essentially, or your number one option is then Chris Middleton, who is more of a number three.
Yep.
So yeah, and then you're going up against, arguably a team that you should beat when healthy.
Yep.
Bucks are healthy. Everybody's healthy in that game. Bucks win that series. probably the same record for too.
Yeah.
Um, but unfortunately, roles will reverse. They're not. The Bucks aren't healthy. Pacers are. That's why they were able to win. So
Yeah. Fair enough. Makes sense to me. All right. Next series, the Timberwolves, arguably the most impressive team this postseason so far. They ended up sweeping Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker's Suns. I mean, I ain't gonna say anything, but Anthony Edwards is that dude, man. I mean, he is something. I mean, he was laughing, talking trash, thrusting his hips in Phoenix, like in a full sweep, and he absolutely beat the Phoenix Suns by himself. Like that's all I can really say about it. And the best defense in the NBA has showed up and showed out in the postseason. What are your thoughts on the Wolves Sun series?
yeah, you hit it right on the head at the end there. I think the defense is the big kicker. Even round two now we saw last night, they blew the Nuggets out of the water
Yeah.
by I think 17 or 27 it was. Nas
Yeah.
Reed is picking up Jamal Murray full court. Anthony Edwards is stealing balls left and right. Yeah, the Timberwolves are playing good ball. Like I thought they were a little more that questionable team coming into it. Same thing with the Thunder for me. Like they're like that questionable team. Like you just don't know enough about them. Are they too young?
Right.
Is their superstars essentially too young? Is the lights too bright for them? But it's seeming like to me Anthony Edwards got that dog in him. As some were saying MJ's son, I heard. But
Right. Let's not get crazy.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll get too crazy now. We'll get too crazy. But yeah, they're playing good ball. With him, Cat, two playing solid, Rudy Gobert. Um, so they're making it work right now. So we'll see if they can get by the Nuggets. So
It's fair. Phoenix got to blow it up, though, right? You got to blow up the big three. I think you have to. I mean, the three of them, they do not play well together. So that was the issue that we talked about when they first got the trade for Beal happened, right? Was that you have three primary ISO ball players
yeah,
and they don't
yeah,
fit the mold on the court together. If
yeah.
you
Something's going on there.
or you got
Yeah,
to like split up the rotation or something, only have two of them on the court at a time, but none of them's going to want to come off the bench.
no,
So
no,
like,
you're not. You're never gonna have that. Yeah, it's something has to happen for them. I mean, Booker's still balled out that last game to try to hold them together. I think he dropped like almost 50. Um, if he may have already, I think Edwards dropped
yeah, Booker
40.
had 49. Yeah.
So and you're not really gonna blow when you say blow up, you're pretty much blowing up like all right, KD might be gone or Beal might be gone. You're not getting rid of Booker. I mean, Booker's like
Right.
20, isn't he like 24 or something like that? Something ridiculous.
Yeah, he's still very young, like
Yeah.
25, 26. And he is the face of the team. He has always been the
Correct.
face of the team.
Correct. So yeah, like looking to the off season for them and kind of like the same thing. Actually, I'll ask you this question. Who would you rather be a GM of? I guess is the Suns or the Lakers.
I mean, that is such a hard question. I'd probably have to say I'd rather be Phoenix's GM because I think I
Okay.
have at least a couple of movable pieces. Like you get rid of Beal or Durant, you can kind of reset the envelope and like try and make some moves, right? I mean, both teams have no bench. That's the real problem. Both teams
Right.
don't have a bench whatsoever, right? So like where do we what are the assets that I have to create bench play? As it pertains to the Phoenix, I've got two superstars that I can put up on the block, and maybe I just go back down to two, right? And then try to create depth because they need defenders and shooters around whoever out of the two they keep. Ideally, if I'm the one making the trade, Beal's the one that leaves. You keep Kevin and Devin,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yep.
From a Lakers perspective, you really have no assets to get rid of. outside of Austin. I mean, Austin Reeves, I wouldn't even consider an asset, but he's probably the best piece outside of Anthony Davis. Because I don't think LeBron has the value. I think LeBron will also opt out and become a free agent this summer. So he's not
That's
a
true.
tradable piece anyway, right?
Yep.
Um, D'Angelo Russell was a freaking fraud in that playoff series against Denver, where Denver beat him in 5. So I mean, D'Angelo Russell, no trade value, but they have, again, nothing. And then what happens? Darvin Ham's the one that gets fired because the players didn't support the coach and they didn't hold themselves accountable.
Yep.
Like, with the team that Darvin Ham has had, I don't think they could have gone any further because of the teams that they ran into. You ran into the same team twice. It's the one team that you can't match up well against, in my opinion, in the West, outside of probably Minnesota, right? I think Minnesota could throw the Lakers some problems just because they have 3 people that they could throw at Anthony Davis and Gobert, Towns, and Reed, right?
But are you like at that point where like the Lakers just need to kind of sit back and maybe be like, all right, we kind of have to go into a rebuild now because you're
I
now
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
you're kind of getting into the world now, right? Where let's say the Timberwolves make a run, right? So they're young, okay?
Yep.
The Thunder, extremely young, and they're the number 1 seed, okay?
Yep.
The Nuggets aren't really going anywhere. They're going to be there as long as Jokic and Jamal Murray's there, and they have a really just well-rounded team, well-coached team. Obviously, some of these players are going to have to get paid. Like I get that, so they do kind of disband a little bit here and there. But the core, I think, for Denver is just going to be there for at least 3 to 5 years, right? And then, you have a little bit more of these, teams that come in and out. Of course, they do between the Mavs, Clippers could potentially disband, the Suns could potentially disband, the Pelicans, you have no idea. So, you're going to be running into probably at least 3 of the 4 teams in the conference finals. And I hate to say it, like LeBron's not getting any younger and AD is fragile. So
Right.
it might be time to be like, all right, like we got to start more acquiring the assets and moving on. So
I think I think they're good. I think Rob Pelinka has a real decision, and I think Rob Pelinka. This is the first year in a while that he's now back really on the hot seat, right? Because he didn't do anything this past year at the deadline, which pissed off LeBron. He was not very quiet about it that they didn't make a move, and now you're going to see. I think that's why LeBron's going to opt out because I think he wants to see what Rob's going to do in regards to making this team a potential contender.
sure.
Like, right? And then he kind of will dictate from there what he's going to do. Plus, if Bronny gets drafted, I think that will also play a role in where he ends up, right? Um, so I think it's going to come down to, do you want to win a championship or do you want to just check a box and keep LeBron, right? How are you going to go about that? Is that doing enough just to keep LeBron, which means, all right, we'll bring Bronny in, we'll keep him on deal, we'll have him be bench player, LeBron will play. So basically, package deal, we'll keep him, right? Or do you push your chips all in and potentially use those 3 first-round picks that you have and you go get another piece or a couple of pieces to warrant a last final push at a ring? Because I don't
Yeah.
think, like, I mean, if they don't do it now, they're not going to do it anytime soon. Because, like you said, all the teams you outlined are only younger, they're faster, they're better. They've all improved significantly outside of maybe the Clippers, right? Because the Clippers just can't stay healthy. And then you have teams that didn't make the playoffs that, right?
Have the potential of coming up, right?
Yep,
Memphis.
exactly. Memphis with Ja coming back, like that team pretty much threw in the towel after Ja got hurt. But Ja
Yep.
came back for like that 10 to 12 game stretch, and they were the best team in basketball before he got hurt, right? He came
Yes.
back from the suspension. They were the best team on record wise when he was back. Then he got hurt. Then they shut it down, right? Then
Yep.
you've got the Sacramento Kings, another very young team. They like to run and gun, very high flying, very fun to watch. A team that last year was the 3 seed in the Western Conference, and they probably ran into the one team that they didn't want to run into in their playoff matchup, which is their crosstown rivals in Golden State, right? Then you have not Sacramento, San Antonio. They're only going to get better, and they've got arguably the future of the NBA.
Yep.
Like teams are only going to improve in the Western Conference. That's why the Western Conference is so much deeper than the East
Oh yeah.
because of all of the rising stars and superstars that are already in it. So the Lakers
Yep.
have to make a decision. Are they just going to accept that they're not going to be a contender or make a push?
Sure. Sure.
So I don't know. But yeah, Lakers are in trouble. They lost in 5, but I think like if they get Oklahoma City, they match up great for the Thunder, in their opinion. Like if it was a first round series, I think the Thunder maybe still win that series, right? Like they were a better matchup as it pertains to the for the Lakers than what the Nuggets were.
I guess, but I still think it's 4-1.
4-1. I had the
Yeah.
Thunder. I think it would have won 7
You think it goes 7 with the Thunder?
if it
If it's
was Lakers
Lakers Thunder?
Thunders. Yes,
Nah, I don't think so. I still think it's like a 4-1. So
that's fair. I don't think they would have had an answer for Anthony Davis.
okay. Great.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't. The matchup doesn't suit both.
Like, all right, great. You don't have a matchup for Anthony Davis. That's fine. But like, what happens when the Lakers have to go to the bench? The Thunder are loaded.
LeBron
Like,
plays 48 minutes. It's fine.
oh my god, just stop it. Just stop it. Uh,
Touche. Well, no, I think they get a couple more games for sure, just because of the greatness of LeBron and AD. They ran into the one team that matchup wise they can't beat in Denver. Let's see what else happened. The Celtics cruised past the Heat. Nothing really to talk about there. Um, in 5, let's see. Mavericks beat the Clippers in 6. Luka Doncic's not overly healthy, but still 1 in 6. Kyrie Irving was the real story of that playoff series. Is that Kyrie Irving is gonna almost will be the arguably the Robin to Luka's Batman. That's what I really showcased. They finally looked like that they were clicking together from a volume offensive standpoint, the two of them in that series.
correct. Yeah, I'm excited to watch that game. Tips off in about a half hour from now. But yeah, I'm excited to watch that because I think it was like the Sunday game. I was able to actually watch a little bit of the games because they get a little late for me over here on the East Coast, so I can't be staying up that late. But
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of that Sunday game, and the Mavs were down by like 20 or 25 after the first quarter versus the Clippers, and I was like, whoa. It was like the
Yeah, because
Sunday, I think it was the game 4.
Paul George had like 30 by the half.
Something wild. And then all of a sudden, like I remember I like went upstairs, did a couple things, and I come back downstairs and they flashed the score at the bottom and it was like tied. I was like, what the heck happened? And they showed like Kyrie Irving like had 25 where the Clippers as a team just had 25 in that quarter. But oh, that's why. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think like you said, like I think they're finally starting to figure out like that point guard shooting role for Kyrie and Luca, and it's actually figuring out. It was a good win. I'm glad to see the Clippers lose. So um, yeah, I
Did the
gotta.
Clip another team? Did they blow it up? I feel like you have to.
Well, I think
Like they don't have that.
Paul George is a free agent. I don't think he's coming back. And truthfully enough, I think the Clippers like I think you gave it a shot and you realized the Harden thing really didn't work out, and it's just you got to move
Kawhi
on.
can't stay on the court.
I think Kawhi you're like kind of locked into, unfortunately. Like that's the one keeper I guess you can have. Like you
Okay.
have to keep him. But like Paul George, a free agent, just let him go. And James
Okay.
Harden, whatever you can get for him, I think is just trade him away and get something.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Fair enough. And then what else happened? Thunder swept the Pelicans. No Zion. Nothing to really talk about there. And then, interesting enough, the one series that looked like it was going to be a total dud ended up going 7 games, which was the Cavaliers Magic series. But no one
The
really.
choke of the Magic right there, man.
Yeah, and Donovan Mitchell basically saying, "I am not losing in this first round again."
Now, I
Not
will give you something in that series. Like Bankera played fantastic ball.
play great,
Like
play great.
every time you go through his stats, he was like 25 plus a night, 6 to 8 rebounds, a couple assists. But like you get to game 7, he scores 38 points. Well, you look around and you're like, okay, well, who else played well? Well, nobody did. Franz Wagner, who's like supposed to be your number 2 guy, goes like 1 of 11 from three or something like that. And I think 4 of like 25 from the field. It's like, well, yeah, that's why you lost. Like, holy shit. But yeah, like you said, Donovan Mitchell played solid. That's why he's still that superstar, and can score the rock and get you a point when he can. And that's just what he did. And he willed his team to win. And probably he'll get blown out versus Celtics now. So it is what it is.
Probably they probably will, right? And the funny thing was is that like in that series, the first 4 games were so bad as they were all like 4 blowouts. Like the games weren't even competitive, so we're like, all right, like, and they were on no. This was the series that got sacrificed to be on NBA TV because
Yeah.
no one wanted to no one was talking about it, so no one was really
Yep.
watching it. And
Yep.
all of a sudden, game 5, 6, and 7 were 3 classics going down to
Yep.
the last couple possessions.
Correct. Correct. Really
Just
good
yeah,
ball. Those
yeah,
last 5, 6, and 7.
yeah.
But
Home
yeah,
fun fact: the home team won every game in that series.
did it really?
Yep,
Interesting.
chalk. So the regular season matters in the 4 or 5 series apparently.
You
So
got that right. You got that right.
all
Not
right,
wrong there.
should I just give you the floor now? I think it's that time. Are you ready?
Yeah, I gotta sit up for this.
All right. The Knicks ended up beating the Philadelphia 76ers in 6. Um, we, Joe, I'm assuming you are not feeling great about that. I mean, the Falcons take Penix, and now the Sixers lose after Joel Embiid praises that we're still going to win the series. Um, let Jalen Brunson be absolutely the next coming in New York City. He's going to now go and down in Madison Square Garden lore. I'm just going to give you the floor, and I'm just going to eat my popcorn, and I'm going to let you just have your fun.
Uh, all right, where do we begin? Well, game 1, you lose to the Knicks. Fine. I can accept that defeat. That was a true loss. No problems there. No problems at all. And you made it a close game. I remember that we did record before. I think we recorded just after that game 1. So
Yep.
we did talk about game 2 though. That's where it starts. Game 2 is where it starts. They win that game. They should have won that game.
If they don't call a foul.
Refs don't call foul. They don't call foul. I remember I'm sitting down on the couch watching the game. Me and my wife are watching the game. She's locked into it. And I turn to her and I go, oh my God. Like, I remember the Knicks steal the ball and they hit the three. The first three gets hit. So I think they're only down. I think they're only down 3 now at this point.
Yep.
And I go, oh my God, they're going to lose this game. Oh my God. Like, I remember just saying that. And then all of a sudden, Maxey gets a foul call. Should have got a foul call because Brunson's holding. Of course, Brunson's holding his goddamn shirt. That's all he was doing all series. So then he gets the ball. Finally, Maxey gets the ball, gets tripped, falls to the floor. They're trying to call timeout. Timeout's not granted. If not, ref, he's on the floor. That's a travel. Steps. Call against somebody. Nope. Knicks steal the ball. Boom. Goes to DiVincenzo. Bang. 3. Ball game. What do you like? Come on, man. Like game 2 is where it all started because you would have came back to Philly and it would have been 1-1. And it was endless there because then it was you weren't getting out of it because now the Sixers had home court advantage and that was it. Like that's all we needed was the home court advantage. Just get a win in New York. But no, now we go 0-2. Then they pull out the officiating report right before game 3 and like, yeah, it was called a foul. Well, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it, NBA? Don't give me that report then. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Then we go to game 3. I don't even remember what we did in game 3. I
Embiid
guess I
had a
was
50. Embiid put up 50.
Oh, was that the 50 point? Oh yeah, all right. So that was when I was away. I was in Boston watching that game. So that's when Embiid. Oh, that was Thursday night with the draft. So I was fired up already with the
Yep,
Falcons.
yep,
So at
yep.
least so at least the Sixers win. So I'm like, all right. Oh, so that's what it was. I knew going in that game there was no shot in hell the Sixers lose that game. You realize that they like the NBA screwed up and go, all right, you have to get the Sixers to win at the very least here. However, so
Yeah.
they win that game. They should have won that game already from the beginning because Embiid was playing incredible. 50-point bang, right? Um, game four, Knicks played hard in game four, and I was kind of more okay with like them losing that game, right? But now let's say they should have lost that game, and I rightfully so. Then I would have gave the Knicks the win there. But now it's 2-2 heading to New York, right? But no, now we're 3-1. Backs against the wall, right? Backs against the wall in New York. What? Come on now. You got to be kidding me, right? Backs against the wall in New York. Then you come to game five. Game five. Refs were horrific all series long, man. All series long. Like, you're just like, guys, I'm sorry. The Trey, like what Trey Young did 4 years ago is what Brunson's doing now. They outlined this. They banned this shit 4 years ago, and now Brunson's doing it now, and they're calling the foul. What? You gotta be kidding me, refs. You gotta be kidding me. It's then Maxey, forget about it. Guy's an all-star, but can't get a foul called? A foul? My man driving to the gets hot, boom, laying there. No foul call? Nothing. Are you kidding me? No fat, unbelievable. So then on top of that, right? So we lose that game five, go to game six, and like, all right, maybe we got a shot to get
You
into game
won game
seven.
five, you dum dum.
Oh, that's right. Dude, that's
That's
wrong.
where Max. That's where Maxie hits the answered prayer from the logo.
That's right. That's right. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back to that game. What an incredible game, because that was a pivotal moment, right? We're sitting there watching, like, all right, I guess it's over now,
It's
right?
done.
Hopes are dead. We're done. We shouldn't be here, right? Maxi comes up, takes a dribble handoff from Embiid, bang, hits the logo three. An incredible shot. You hear the eruption from at Madison Square Garden down here in Philadelphia. It was incredible. It was incredible. But then, right, then they take it to OT. Joel's having a terrible game. First quarter to fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, overtime, the man comes out of nowhere and finds out how to play basketball again. So we win that game. However, Blaine, like you just said, we should have been 2-2 heading to New York. We should be home court advantage, game six in
Wrong,
Philadelphia, up
because
3-2.
if it's 2-2, there's no way you guys win game five.
You're
Let's be
lying.
honest.
You're lying. No. We were winning, truly winning that game in game five. So great win. Game six, you go to game six now. And here we go again with the refs crap. Don't got a shot. However, the Sixers shot themselves in the foot in game six. Yep. I hate to say it. Being down 25 points in the first quarter. However, they made a hell of a run throughout the whole game to get themselves back. But, Blake, let's talk about the big outlier here, right? Your big man was injured, but still played solid ball and actually gave you a 50 burger in game three, excuse me. Tyrese Maxey, your second superstar now, has damn near close to a 50 burger, hit a lot of big shots in that series. Like, can you name me the third big superstar that gets paid a max contract in the Philadelphia 76ers?
I know who it is.
Go ahead. Name it.
His name is Tobias "Da Bum" Harris.
How many points did he have in game six?
Dude, you want to know? I kind of want to know how much he had the whole series.
No, he did have a solid game.
Knowing Tobias Harris, he put up an offer in game six. Did he have an offer?
It wasn't good. I can tell you that.
He had an offer, and the man only took 2 shots the entire game in game six. 2.
But he's a max contract player.
Yep, you pay him $40 million a year to do nothing.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out, all right? That's all I'm going to say. We'll catch you in the offseason. Unbelievable. Fire me up on a goddamn Tuesday. Tuesday night here. Fire me up. The only bright side we got right now is Philadelphia Phillies have the best record in baseball. It's all we got right now.
Wow, you're already talking. Well, yeah, you didn't even know you have nowhere else to do. You gotta talk baseball now for yourself.
It's a problem. It's a problem. But no, but kudos to the Knicks. They play hard. That's just
Yeah.
how they are. Tibb has got this team playing hard like he always does with these teams. They go in and rebound. Everybody goes in and rebounds, excuse me. And you got a fearless leader in Jalen Brunson. Got to give him credit. And they're gonna have a difficult matchup with the Pacers. They won game one. But I think this game, I think you can
Yo,
go.
that was such a bad call last night in that Pacers
Which one?
game.
Which one? They were all
The last
refs.
three. The last three, bro. Last three. Two no call. Well, no. Two calls and one no call.
The one kick ball was terrible.
Oh my god, awful! And you can't
And then the
challenge
moving. It wasn't moving.
Oh,
it
really? Wasn't moving.
It wasn't moving screen.
The Miles Turner one?
Yeah, that was a moving screen.
Buddy, but 30 seconds earlier, Dante DiVincenzo's playing football on the other end.
Look, hey, buddy,
And,
I just came up with a 5-minute rant about the refs.
I'll swallow my whistle. All right, I got it. NBA, we don't want to know the 2-minute report because we don't want to know you're wrong when we already know you're wrong. All right? You're just giving us more fuel to the fire.
If you're going to give it to us, then do something about it. Go replay the game then from that point on.
There's no point in telling us we want to be transparent with the general public. That doesn't help. That just pisses people off even more.
I know. You're telling me.
Nope. But Indiana had it. Doesn't mean Indiana wins the game, right? But they lost the opportunity to have a moment to win the game.
Sure. Yeah.
If you're going to call that Miles Turner one, you got to call that one consistently the entire game. Because you can call that almost every play.
100%. So let's go through all four series real quick. Who we like to win it, and we'll go from there. So
yeah.
All right, I'll go first then. The West, Thunder, Mavs. Give me the Thunder. I'll take them in 7.
I've got the
Timberwolves,
Dallas Mavericks in 6.
All right. Timberwolves, Nuggets. Minnesota's already leads at 2-0, which is already shocking to me, to say the least.
Nuts.
So I'm going to go with the Timberwolves. I think they win it in 5.
I think Wolves in 6. I think Denver responds.
Okay.
I think that. All right, before we jump off of that game, Jamal Murray's got to be suspended, right? For tossing the shit on the court.
Yeah, they're coming up with something. I know. I saw that, but I don't know what exactly it is. So
you got to suspend him. Like that was dangerous, and they get ejected from a game if they're throwing shit into the stands, and they get caught. And you're telling me there's no punishment for them throwing shit onto the court to endanger not just their teammates but their opponents?
Is this a Golden State Warriors fan coming from Draymond Green?
Yeah, this is a Golden State Warriors
talking. That's what I thought. All right, let's get to the next one. Celtics, Cavs. I got the Celtics in 5.
Celtics in 5. Donovan Mitchell will get the Cavaliers 1.
All right. And then Pacers, Knicks. I guess.
Knicks in 7.
I guess the Knicks in 7. They're just gonna get foul calls going their way because NBA wants New York to do well. So,
however, Reggie Miller returns to the Garden for Game 2 to be the play-by-play. Take the Pacers in Game 2.
Tyrese Halliburton. Yes,
Halliburton was a bum last night.
What you gonna do, man? What you gonna do? Now you got me all fired up.
It's okay. Calm down and take us home. All right.
We'll take you home. We got another PGA major coming up there. In golf next week, and PGA Championship Valhalla in Kentucky, in Louisville specifically. So we'll get into that next week. Make our predictions, make our picks as well. Talk a little bit more about NBA playoffs. What else you want to talk about, Blaine?
we'll talk NBA playoffs. Maybe we'll start doing our little mini series of divisions on the NFL. Divisional
Whoa.
breakdowns.
Whoa. You're getting ahead of yourself, maybe, but that's all right. I
Maybe,
like talking football,
maybe.
so I like talking football.
No, we'll
So
talk. We'll talk. Maybe we'll talk tennis next week. Switch it up.
you say tennis? Wow. Yeah. Might have to take the week off. I don't know a single thing about that. I just know they use a green ball and it bounces. That's it.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
Sheesh. But yeah, just before we hang up here, quick shout out to the Philadelphia Phillies, though. Best
Oh,
record in
shut
baseball
up.
right now. They're up 8-0 right now versus the Blue Jays playing solid ball. So that's all I care about. So, but as always, great time hopping on here at the final whistle. Make sure you stay tuned for next week, and we'll be back. Take it easy, folks.